Hey everybody, I'm Sunny. We're back with another guest artist today. It's our first international guest, which I'm really excited about. We're going to be talking to Nikki Seears from Drurid Ceramics, all the way in the UK, and she's going to demo how she uses her Elan underglaze transfers to decorate pumpkins that she makes, which are really cool. So before Nikki logs on, let's go over a little business. We have a giveaway going on Instagram. Go to the Instagram profile. It's pinned at the top. You can win a $100 gift card to elantransfers.com, and the winner will be chosen on November 30th. So if you like the post, tag a friend, and comment your favorite fall dish to share with your friends. Maybe a dish that has Elan transfers on it. Or post a dish that has Elan transfers on it that you would use to share a meal or a drink with your friend. And make sure you tag Elan transfers. So all the details for that are on the post on Instagram. It's a pinned post, so you can win a $100 gift card to elantransfers.com. Winner will be chosen on November 30th. On our website, elantransfers.com, we have a great resource page called Guest Artists, where you can find all the information about all the artists that we've had on so far, tools they've used, where you can follow them. You'll also find written instructions on how to apply transfers and overglaze decals, as well as some free videos that you can download if you're wanting some more instruction on those. And we also have a Facebook group called Elan Transfers and Decals. It has well over 20,000 members. It's a great spot with a ton of helpful information, a great community of folks who just want to talk about underglaze transfers. So head over there if you want to join into any kind of discussions about that kind of stuff. I will have a discount code at the end of the live today for 10% off through midnight tonight, so you can stick around for that. And as always, 2 members of the chat today, 2 people who are contributing thoughtfully in the chat, will receive a promo code for a free sample pack on elantransfers.com. So check your DMs later and see if maybe you won that, which would be cool. And if you do and you make something, tag us, because we would love to see it. If you have any questions, please ask, or comments or anything. We want to hear from you. We want to answer your questions. If you can add your name in the chat and maybe where you're from, that would be awesome. I'll be taking notes on your questions and kind of answering them in batches, so I'm not interrupting. And also, you may see some other members of the Elan group, like Glenley Farms and Dirty Deeks. They'll be answering your questions in the chat if I don't get to them first. So Nikki is about to join us. Let me get her in here. Here we go. Hi, Nikki.
Hi.
How are you?
Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you. Thanks for joining us.
You're right. I'm just turning the volume up so I can hear you.
Perfect. All right. So
you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is great. So this is Nikki Seears from Drurid Ceramics. How am I doing saying that? Looks like Nikki's processing. We'll let her catch up a little bit. So Nikki is going to show us how she decorates her pumpkins using Elan's underglaze transfers. She is joining us from the UK today. There we go. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. It just gone off for a minute.
There we go. All right.
Yeah.
So Nikki, Drurid Ceramics. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's Drurid.
Okay.
Close enough.
Okay, sorry. I've been practicing.
That's okay. It's really good.
So Nikki, your pumpkins are super cute. I've also been noticing you've been making some really good cute holiday stuff lately. I would love to know how you got into ceramics.
Well, I've always loved ceramics, but I couldn't get into it at school because of politics and stuff anyway. So when I was about 31, the Great Pottery Throwdown programme came on TV in the UK. And after that, potters everywhere started offering lessons. So I just signed up with a local potter and got lessons from her, and I was just hooked right from the beginning. Just love everything about it. It's so varied. You can do so many things with it, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's funny. I also saw the Great Pottery Throwdown before I started, and I had always like kind of loved it, but I had never even like taken an art class. And so when I was on my honeymoon in Ireland, I watched like the first 2 episodes of one of the series, and after that I was like, okay, I really want to do this. It took me a little while, but it really piqued my interest too.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? And once you start, you just get addicted to it, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It just takes over. So
Yeah.
you make these pumpkins, and they're really cool.
Oh, thank you.
And you kind of do surface decorations with the Elan underglaze transfers. When
Yes.
did you start using underglaze transfers?
Pretty soon after Elan started selling them, actually, because I was already following their main pottery page and I loved their transfer. So when they started selling them, I was like, yes, thank God I can get some of my own.
Yeah, I am curious, how common are like underglaze transfers in the UK versus here? Because like I could go to
Sorry,
any
could you
kind of
repeat
market.
that? It's just gone off.
Yeah, how common are underglaze transfers to be used by potters? Because like I can go to a market and see another potter using them at pretty much anyone. Is it as common there?
Um, Not necessarily in North Wales, but I do know of a few other potters. There's one in Brighton, I think, and one in Bristol I know of. There definitely are some around in the UK. Probably not as many, but yeah, there's definitely people
Yeah,
using them.
so you're kind of a trendsetter, which I
Well,
love.
I don't know about that.
All right, well, if you want to set up for your demo,
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and poll the audience. We've
Okay.
already talked about this a little bit, but now that we're kind of like into seasonal work, I really want to know how many people have actually made some seasonal work this year. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Some people were like, yeah, I make some. Some people were like, I don't. But if you have made any kind of seasonal work this year, comment 1. If you haven't made any seasonal work, you're not planning to, comment 2. Just type the number in the chat and let us know.
Is that okay for where
Yeah,
it is?
that looks great. Yep.
Perfect.
All right, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and start showing us what
Okay.
you do.
So what I would normally do is line up a whole sheet. I've pre-cut it just to make it quicker, but I would normally lay the sheet along it and sort of press it down so you get a rough idea of what size you want, and then I'd cut from there.
Lots of people saying they make seasonal work, which I love. I'm in the middle of it too. All right, we're a little
Then I
frozen.
basically and if you tuck it under, that will hold it in place. Oops.
Are these pumpkins thrown, or did you hand build them?
Yes, I threw them so they're hollow inside and they're solid.
Beautiful. I love the stems. I think they're so cool.
Oh, thank you. You've got to have a curly stem, haven't you?
Now I saw that some of your pumpkins you threw were jars.
Yes. So like I will throw them all like this originally, and then once I put the transfer on, I'll cut the lid out.
Really cool.
So once it's in place like that, I'll leave the top bit up for now, and then I just get a slightly damp sponge. You don't want it too wet, and start pressing from the middle.
And how dry would you say that piece is? Like leather hard?
Yeah, it's leather hard, so you can press it, and it's not gonna get a dent in it, and it's not tacky.
That's how I like to apply mine
So
too. We've had a lot of guests on
around,
Nikki who are applying on bisque, which is amazing, and I love seeing that.
yeah.
But I do like seeing people apply it how I like to. I like to apply it to leather hard
I've never
clay.
actually tried it on bisque, so I know you can, but I've just always done it this way.
Yeah. So you don't need a ton of water.
No, not loads.
Which
you
is
just want enough to stick it on. Yeah, I think if you do it on bisque, you need a lot more water.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then, when you get to the top bit, there's 2 ways you can do it. You could cut slits in it, or you can do it the lazy way, like I do, where I press one bit down and then fold it over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with a lot of the patterns, it's easy to kind of do a
yeah, this one's quite busy anyway, so you won't notice any overlapping bits.
Mm-hmm. And as you're going around into the ridges, you're just kind of like pressing it down into the ridge.
You press it down. It might not go right into the ridge, but I don't really mind that.
And do you usually apply it with a full sheet like that? Or do you ever do like cut it
It
apart?
depends on the design. If I've got like pieces of bits I want to use up, then I can do it in pieces. But if I've got a whole sheet, then I'll do it in a whole sheet like this.
Yeah, I love that. It makes it a little easier with a pattern that is a little bit busier like that. Because like you
Definitely,
said,
yeah.
you don't see the folds.
So if I was going to use, say, like the tarot card ones, I'd cut the tarot cards out individually.
Mm-hmm.
But with a busy pattern like this, you can get away with just attaching it in a sheet.
Yeah, that folding technique that you did is so handy
Yeah.
on round objects.
It's a
And
lot
you can
quicker.
definitely cut slits too.
You can, yeah. And then for the bottom, because it's not as curved, I find you don't really need to do that. You can just
Mm-hmm.
press it down. You see that okay?
Yeah, it looks great. Great.
Try not to drop it. Now, I don't find that one go round with the water will ever transfer it enough, so I tend to go round again.
Mm-hmm.
Just work it into the surface as much as possible.
Yeah, you can really, it's hard to tell obviously on camera, but when you're doing it in person, you can really see once that underglaze has transferred onto the clay, it'll be a different color on the paper.
Yeah, and what you can do is if you've got a heat gun, you can just heat a little bit of it up to see whether it's transferred or not. If it's lighter, it's transferred. If it's still got ink left on the paper, you'll see it in a darker spot,
Mm-hmm.
and then you know you can go over it again.
And what kind of clay are you using?
So this one is called St. Patrick Buff Clay, which is from a company called Scarva in Ireland. So that's
Is it like
just
a stoneware or
the
porcelain?
Yes, it's a stoneware.
Nice. And the final color, is it like that kind of brown that's on
Yes.
your paper? Oh, nice.
See that one? It'll be that sort of colour.
Yeah, I'm very interested in like the different kinds of clays that would be in the UK versus in the US.
We do actually get some clays over here that I believe are from the US. There's one that I like from Sibelco. Is that one that's in the US? I'm pretty sure.
Not sure.
It is.
Yeah.
These two are from Sibelco, the white and the grey. So
Nice.
the one's a white throw-in and then a Scandi throw-in.
If anyone in the comments is international, not in the US, would you comment like what kind of clay, like not the brand, but like if you like to use a porcelain or a stoneware or a speckled, or like what kind of clays do you like to use internationally?
I have tried throwing with porcelain and it doesn't like me, so I tend to stick with stoneware.
I've never tried it, but I've heard some horror stories.
Yeah. Okay. So when you think it's transferred enough, you can pull a little bit off. Have a look. Yeah, that looks good.
A few people have commented they like speckled stoneware.
Yes,
which was my favorite.
Speckled stoneware is lovely.
Love that. Earthenware. We're frozen for a moment. I'm loving everybody commenting. A lot of stoneware, which is great. Very dark clay. Nice.
I love using dark clay with the white transfers.
Absolutely. They're beautiful.
Yeah. There's one.
Nice. Yeah, that looks great.
I don't tend to use a rib because I find it rips the paper. I think the sponge is good enough as long as you don't put too much water on.
Yeah.
But you can work it in if you want to. But you just have to be really careful with it.
Depending on the moisture content of your clay, you might even be able to use just a rib and no water. It just kind of depends on what it is.
It does, yeah. I'm just going give it a quick burst of the gun so I can move it.
Okay. Just dry the surface off. If anyone has any questions, I'm sorry if I've missed them, but if you can put your name and maybe your location in the chat, that would be great, and we can try and answer some. Yes, that's the transfer sheet. Let me see if I have one actually right here. I feel like I did. So they come in big sheets that are, maybe Leanne, if you can put like the actual dimensions, but big sheets. This one is cut down. And then what Nikki did was she cut the height of it, so she was able to kind of wrap it around.
Like that.
Yes.
And then you just line it up with that to test how much you want.
Mm-hmm.
They are such a good size.
I know, and I really feel like you get a bang for your buck on those because you can use a lot.
Yeah, I can do like 3 pumpkins out of one sheet.
Yeah,
which I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
So if you want,
there's a question about underglaze. You can use underglaze on top. Absolutely, just let your transfer dry. You also, if you're applying it to like leather hard clay like that, you can bisque and apply your underglaze in bisque.
Yes, I've done that. I usually bisque and then put the underglaze on because otherwise it can smudge transfer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you want to turn it,
go ahead.
Sorry, go
on. Stacy asked, "What's your favorite transfer to use?"
Oh, probably. Oh, there's loads I like, but probably the tarot card one. This one.
Those are very cool.
Yeah, but I love lots of them. I love the mixtape and the shells.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many good ones. The jellyfish is another favourite.
Oh yeah.
So from there, if you want to turn it into a leaded pot, all I do is I cut a V-shaped notch with my knife. And then from there, I just spin the turntable. I'm not going all the way through to start with. I'm just marking where I'm cutting. Then I'll go back round, cut it.
And you're cutting that kind of at an angle so it sits on there.
Yeah, so it's just slightly at an angle so the lid will sit in it without falling off.
Is that any kind of special knife, like a scalpel or a razor blade, or just kind of like a...
It's just I forgot what it's called, but it's just from a pottery company.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a really sharp knife. It's got blade on both sides.
Nice. I like the idea of putting the notch in so that it will always line, the pattern will always line up.
You can tell where the lid fits then. Just takes it
it's really smart. So as a reminder to everyone, we're talking to Nikki Seears. Can you say it one more time? Druid?
Druid. It's you're saying the oo sound and then the r sound.
Druid.
Druid.
Druid ceramics, and she's in the UK, and she's showing us how she applies transfers around these wheelthorn pumpkins that she makes.
And then I'll leave it like that to dry a bit more before I take the lid off and neaten up the edges and stuff. But that one's pretty much done.
So Kat asked if it's easier to smudge on greenware or on bisque if you're applying. It's easier to smudge it if you apply it on bisque. But also in general, if it's
quite big enough to go all the way around.
If it has a lot of water, if you add a lot of water, it's probably going to smudge.
Yes. And then I've got some other little bits that are just left over, so I'm going to piece it all together.
And Nikki is applying right now on like leather hard clay, which is also how I like to apply on. So it's fun to watch. A few people have asked Nikki if you like to do underglaze on your transfers.
Yeah.
Color.
Yes. I love several different ways. I like to do like the underglaze first, so you can get like an ombre effect, and then you put the transfer over the top. But But I also sometimes do it where I put the transfer first and then I'll paint.
Nikki, you froze just for a second. Do
Oh,
you,
sorry.
when you do the underglaze on top, do you apply it on leather hard biscuit and then do the underglaze on bisque?
Yes, so this one I'll do the transfers on greenware and then I'll biscuit and then I'll paint in the lines wherever I want.
A few people have asked about applying to bisque. We have had a few other guest artists on who have done demos applying to bisque. If you wanted to go over to our Instagram page, Elan Transfers, you can watch those old videos and get some more detailed instruction than I can just kind of verbally tell you. But you're going to need a little more water than you would on like a leather hard clay, and you don't really want to rub it. You're trying to like press it into that bisque clay to get it to transfer. Now these cat ones have a lot of black underglaze.
Yeah.
So kind of historically, they're more difficult to transfer because you have a lot more surface area to go down.
Yeah.
In this case, applying it on something that's leather hard, I find it's a lot easier to get those to transfer versus bisque because there's moisture in the clay.
Yeah.
So it'll hold on to that underglaze.
I like how the clay holds onto the transfer as well when you're doing it onto leather hard. It sort of grips it a bit.
Yes, it definitely makes it easier for you to apply.
Yeah.
So we've had a few questions about clear glaze and glazing them. If you leave your transfers bare and fire them to cone 6, they're good to go. You can leave them bare with no glaze over them if you fire to at least cone 6. Otherwise, you should put a clear glaze over top.
This one's bare.
Can you hold it up a little higher?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
That's what it looks like bare. And that's what it looks like if it's got glaze on it.
And when you glaze, do you dip glaze or do you paint on your clear?
It depends on the piece. If I'm glazing the whole piece with the clear glaze, then I'll probably dip it. But with these pumpkins, I wanted to do orange inside.
Cute.
So I painted it on. But it was still a dipping glaze. I just painted it on.
Mm-hmm. So someone asked about using slip with transfers. We have had another guest on who did a demo with doing slip, and that was HMade Studio. So if you go back a little bit, you'll be able to, again, watch a pretty good demo with someone doing those. But yes, you can definitely use slip with your underglaze transfers.
They're just so versatile, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can use them.
Yeah.
And when you fire, what cone do you fire yours to?
So I bisque to cone 04 and then I glaze to cone 6.
Perfect.
Let's see.
Do you have your own studio?
I do, yeah. Well, it's in my garage.
Yeah.
I've got my own.
I took over an old laundry room or an old guest room, and I have my kiln in the laundry room. So
I started out in a tiny little shed, and I soon outgrew it, so I took over the garage.
That's great.
If these don't transfer, you can just press them with your finger before you pull it off.
Give them a little rub or press them into the clay.
But I don't.
And depending on the water content, don't rub them too much because it'll smear.
Yeah, no, don't rub them because it will just pull the sheet. But to be honest, I don't mind if they don't transfer completely with these ones because it sort of gives it like an antique-y look, which I quite like.
So you're working on pumpkins. Are you working on, like I saw your little gingerbreads. Those were so cute. Are you working on other seasonal work right now?
I've just come back off holiday, so I haven't started yet. But yes, I'll be doing more gingerbread mugs soon.
That's great. So do you do like markets? Do you do sales? Do you have a website?
I have a website and I sell in a local shop, but I don't tend to do markets because my other job is I run a campsite. So in the summer,
Oh,
when all the markets are on, I'm quite busy.
oh yeah, yeah, of course. What would be the best way for viewers to support you? Follow you on
Yeah,
Instagram,
follow
go
me
to your
on
website.
Instagram and check out my website.
Great. So Nikki is joining us from the UK right now and is applying transfers to these wheel thorn pumpkins that she made. And the last one, after she applied it all the way around, she cut the top off so it has a little lid, which is so cute. Amy, yes, Nikki, Nikki, and last name is Seears.
Like little bits left over, you can do little mini pumpkins as well.
So cute.
So this one's a mug. And so I've got some tarot cards I was going to apply to it, but these don't bend round the mug so easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm cut a slit in between each one.
Mm-hmm. So there's a question about how long you should leave your transfers on the piece. You should take them off pretty soon after you apply them. If they dry, there's a chance that the transfer might kind of stick back onto the paper. So put them on, press them in or burnish them on well. Use either a sponge, you can use your finger, you can use a rubber rib. I've seen some people use the back of a spoon. It just kind of depends on like the water content of your clay and how much you put on it, and then peel it off. Don't let it sit on there. The tarot cards are such a fun transfer from Elan.
I love them. I'd put them on everything if I could.
As a reminder to everyone, there is a giveaway going on right now on our Instagram page. There's a pinned post at the top of the Instagram profile with all the details on how to enter, but you could get a $100 gift card to elantransfers.com, and the winner will be chosen for that on November 30th. And I will have at the end of the interview a discount code for 10% off on elantransfers.com. So if you've been wanting to buy something, maybe wait until the end of the interview and get a little discount. And also 2 viewers from today will receive a promo code for a free sample pack. So it'll be someone who has been asking some questions and contributing thoughtfully to the chat. So check your DMs after and see if you have a message from Elan to see if you win a free sample pack from elantransfers.com. So even if you don't win, a sample pack is a great way to just try it and see if you like it. We're buffering right now. So right now we're talking to Nikki Seears from Druid Ceramics. I promise I've been practicing that. All the way from the UK, and she's showing us how she uses her Elan underglaze transfers to embellish these wheel thorn pumpkins. And right now she's showing us a pumpkin mug and adding some of the tarot card transfers from Elan, which are so cool. So these ones, Nikki, you cut apart, right?
Yes, I haven't cut them out completely. I've just sort of cut a slit down about 2/3 of the way down, just so that they can bend around the curve of the mug.
Yeah. Also, I should mention if Dirty Deeks or Glenley Farms is commenting, they are part of the Elan team. So trust anything that they tell you because they probably know more than I do. And Christina on Dirty Deeks just mentioned that the sample packs are great for ornaments because you get all kinds of different designs and all kinds of different sizes, which is a great thought for right now. So your mug is still that kind of like leather hard clay. We're frozen. So let's see. We have a question about how quickly do you need to use your transfers? As long as you store your transfers well, they'll last a really long time. I keep mine in a closet, so there's no direct sunlight and it's not like a big fluctuation of temperature. I have some that I've had for several years and they're totally fine.
I do.
So yeah, as long as they're kept in like a cool place, don't let them dry out. They'll last you a long time, which is really nice. Someone asked if you bisque them and add underglaze to the inside of the transfer, how thick should the underglaze be? That's up to you. I've seen people use kind of like watercolor style underglaze. It looks beautiful and it's got that like watercolor feel to it. I've seen people do like a really opaque, like thicker application, and that looks great too. I honestly, this is an annoying answer, but I would just practice and test it and see. You could always do like kind of a test piece and do 1 coat of underglaze, 2 coats of underglaze, and 3 coats of underglaze, and just see what you like best, like what the look is for you.
All about personal choice. And
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely could do some green on the evergreen trees, and I think that would be very cute.
Okay.
Great.
How are we doing for time? Do you want me to do another one?
No, I think that's good. I do have a couple of rapid fire questions for you though,
Yeah.
once you're kind of back. Oh, I'm also just curious as you're getting set up, what is the best selling Elan underglaze transfer that you have? Because it's so interesting, especially where you are, where not a lot of people use them.
Yeah, I don't tend to like repeat things very much, so it's hard to tell. My bat mugs that I've mixed, you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So I've mixed the bats and the bat size bits from the apothecary labels. They sold really well. I did some with the clamshells on. They sold really well. It just depends, really. There's not
Yeah.
really one that sells better than others, I don't think. Not round here, anyway.
Yeah.
Depends what grabs people's attention.
Sure. Yeah, I love that. All right, so we've been asking everyone some rapid fire questions at the end. So I'm just gonna go through. So what is your favorite Elan underglaze transfer to use?
Probably the tarot cards, I think.
Yeah.
I love that one.
And then these are, I mean, we've kind of gone over these, but do you prefer applying underglaze transfers to like a leather hard clay or a bisque?
Yeah, I mean, I've never tried this, but yeah, leather hard, I'd say.
Me too. What is your favorite kind of clay that you use to apply Elan transfers on?
Probably the one I use the most is a white stoneware. So it's called Glenarm White. It's one from Ireland as well.
Okay, cool. And then while you're working in your studio, do you like to listen to anything?
I actually don't listen to anything because I get so caught up in what I'm doing, I just don't notice anything else.
I do the same thing sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wait, it's very quiet.
Yeah.
All right, and then one more question, because all the ladies in the Elan group love flowers. What is your favorite kind of flower?
Or sunflower, I would say, because they're just so happy.
That's a great answer. I love that. That's a great one.
Yeah.
All right, Nikki, this was great. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from the UK.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. If anyone has a topic they'd like covered in a future interview, you can leave a comment on the repost of this video on the Elan Transfers Instagram page. I'm also going to go ahead and share our promo code. Let's see, this one, Nikki Nov, like November 14. This is the promo code. It's good for 10% off until midnight tonight on elantransfers.com. So you can maybe get one of those sample packs and do your ornaments or stock up for the holidays. And don't forget that you can go to elantransfers.com. On the guest artist page, you can see all the tools and everything that were used in today's interview. and find detailed instructions on how to apply underglaze transfers and overglaze decals. Leanne is going to be here on the 28th for a special live. She's going to show you how she applies overglaze decals to store-bought dinnerware that you can just like buy at Target or wherever, which will be really cool and kind of open up some possibilities with overglaze decals. Nikki, this is wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you on the 28th. Bye.
Bye.